large knoll. I don't know. Knolls normally aren't this big. They're usually pretty small. So we'll call him like a giant knoll. Giant, I don't know. Huge. Knoll. What can I call him? Knoll. He's actually not a D&D figure. He's actually from a game called um, something Rex. I want to say, I don't know. It's like a combat game, and I forgot what it's, something Rex. But not Tyrannosaurus or dinosaur or some other some other game. I can't remember what it is. But so he's actually he's probably not even officially a knoll. I mean, according to the game, but he looks like a knoll, so I'm calling him a knoll. I'm gonna call him Knoll Knoll Behemoth. Knoll Brute. I don't know. I'll call him a giant knoll for now. I could change his name later. Um, all right, so for him, I still haven't put any flex on his base, so it makes him kind of hard to stick to things. I'm not a big fan of. I need to come up with a way to magnetize him. Now this guy has a thicker base, but it's only got the rim. So in order to get a good base on him, okay, so one of the things that, along with you always hear me talking about the Mage Cage and the X Case, and those are the cases that hold miniatures that I designed some years back, and one of the things we sell with those um, is flex iron. Looks like this, and this flex iron is designed to be able to be put on the bottom of your miniature, and then it'll stick to magnets like that, so you can so you put it on the bottom of your miniatures, and then we sell the magnetic strips, which are about yay big, and they go on the bottom of the case, and then your miniatures will all stick to the case, and you can travel and go from place to place, and your minis will stay put while you're traveling around. So what I'm going to do here is I don't have any available. We sell them in pre-cut sizes, 2 inches and down to 1.75, 1.5, 1.25, 1 and 2 and 3/4 inch. And what you do with that is we also sell this, which is a 3 little strips that are you basically cut them to what you want. Like, we sell them square and round, but maybe you have some oddball shape like peanuts or something else, and you want to put some flex. You want to put the flex on those, and the ones we don't have. Now, you don't have to fully cover the base, but see how this particular base just has an edge. There's nothing in the middle. I like to actually take a glop of this glue, stick it in the middle like that. It'll dry and it'll actually stick and add like a center point. But it actually just adds a little extra something to to it. And then I use this activator, and then I just glue it right onto the flex, and it'll dry almost instantly. Once this is stuck, after a few seconds, you can actually cut off the excess, and then you've got a nice round base that I can put on my magnets or do whatever I want and make it so that I can paint him, or put him. This is my mini holder when I'm painting, so I like to have. I probably should get me something a little longer and put this on it, but it's got a metal cap. Maybe I could even put the jar that goes with this on it and to just hold the jar. But that's basically what this is meant for. It's meant to be able to hold your mini and allow you to paint. That's what I use this for. Some people, they use the cork. They'll put sticky stuff on their guys. Now, of course, if you don't have magnets and stuff going on, you kind of have to find another way to stick to them, right? I've just chosen the approach of using a magnet, because the flex iron is going to keep them in the case anyway, so I'm going to be using that. This is the strips are, when I tell you that we sell the strips, these strips are 2 by 3 inches, and you get 3 of them with when you buy them, when you buy the strips. Just like that. We got a flex iron base. We're all set. Now hopefully that middle piece is nice and dry too. It'll provide me a little stability, and I just go voila. Oh, glue it on there. I don't need most of the little pieces, but this piece I'll keep for later. For other big pieces that might need it. I can usually get about 2 big pieces like this out of the flex iron, but sometimes this is like if you want to cut you don't, like I said, your own custom shapes and sizes of the flex iron, but I like to use I like to use the pre-cuts. I just didn't have any available. I had some packs that we sell. I didn't want to open them, so I just grabbed one of the miscellaneous pieces of flex I had lying around. That was the size of one of those strips. Probably just put some strips aside. Okay, so now I can hold him and do whatever I need to. Now, I was being bad yesterday when I was airbrushing, so you can see my board is getting pretty not gray anymore. It's getting all covered up in other junk because I've been throwing my I've been spray painting right over this. I was being lazy and not using a towel or anything, or I wasn't even wearing my mask. I tell you, I was like, it's only going to be a few minutes. It's only acrylic paint. How bad can it be? I don't know how bad it can be. I just know that it's not recommended to be breathing it in. So, and when you're aerating it, turning it, putting spray airbrushing it. You are taking, you're taking chemicals in. I mean, even if it isn't. Goodbye. I don't know what that is. Watch it played. Goodbye, Aircon UK. Somebody must have went to a game convention or something. Okay. So, like I said, these characters were part of a Knoll clan that had red in them, so I'm going to try to get some redness on these guys. And the red I was using was, I think, just like a blood red. So I'm going to try to use an airbrush / contrast paint red, only because I don't. It's thinner and it goes to the airbrush better. It's designed for the red. And I wanted to have enough slaughter red. How about slaughter red? That's a speed paint. So let's put some slaughteration in here. nice and thin, should go through pretty nice. I will put a drop of airbrush medium in there too, just to kind of make sure everything stays good. And then I'm just going to basically go over his skin. Again, I'm going to try to avoid the hair. The hair is going to get some. What can I do, you know? But and I thought about just putting it in the hair, give them their hair streak, maybe. What's better, the hair being red or the skin having a red hue? I think I'm going to actually just have the hair be kind of black, because black is generic, you know, minions. The bright colors, the key color, the things that stand out more to me is a leader. So they're going to have like less of the red going on, right? I mean, they're just like part of the clan, but they're not like dominating color. That's my theory, and I'm sticking to it. All right, so let's go ahead and get my glasses on. Again, I'm not doing a ton, so I probably don't need a ton. Put my paper towel down just to give myself a target that involves catching some of my paint. And then we'll take my brush, which I cleaned out before I quit yesterday, so it should be good. We'll find that out in a moment. Drop a drip of airbrush paint in airbrush medium. I have lots of mediums and thinners, and I still haven't figured out what you're supposed to use between mediums and thinners. I like mediums because they slow down the drying time, and that's kind of key to me. Thinners make it thinner. That's what it does, but I don't know if it slows down the drying time, because I think a thinner has, I don't know if it's alcohol or something in it that helps. It kind of has an alcohol smell, I think, more than the medium does. And I think it evaporates, so even though it's thinner, it's going to dry at the same speed, whereas a medium will not dry quite so fast because it's supposed to slow it down. There you go. All right, let's get some paint on this guy, shall we? Oops, don't have any light. Trick is, how do you make this actually do it? Being precise with I don't know. Being precise with these things is hard. Basically, he's got a brown undercoat under his red, so. I don't know if I have too high or too low or too what of viscosity going in. How do I do a downward spray in an area that's covered up by his arm? Winging it here, guys. Winging it. I don't know how to get a lot of this area even hit, much less hit precisely. Hitting it at all was almost as challenging as just getting it. And my thought is, I don't see. This is why I'm always impressed with people who can. They say they're painting an entire model without a brush. I look at some of these minis and I'm going, no way. I think everybody uses a brush. And the more I do this, the more I think they're lying. It's like, nope, didn't happen. You did not paint that with no brush. Now there's a level of smoothness. I changed my mind on the hair. I'm gonna put a streak just down the center. I'm gonna try and just get his hands here. So really, as you can see, I'm avoiding the armor, but the armor's still getting it a little bit. So such is the way of things. Not easy to be. It's not easy being green or red in this case. Alright, all done here. Well, we're as done as it's going to get. Then we'll go ahead and let's give a little bit of color to the Knoll Hound. Never put a base on him. I think my base came off my Knoll. Probably should have let it sit longer. Now, I'm doing this because I want to paint kind of. It's almost like I want the red to be where the sun hits, even though it's always kind of brown if you see him from his non-sunny sides. You know, he's not the most upright of dogs. He keeps pushing himself away. It's like he wants to tip over. He's like, ah, give me a base, man. All right. Got him kind of redded as well. The dog doesn't need any red. I'm kind of low. I don't have a lot of paint here, so I can't do a ton of stuff with him. I want to put something on the devil. This is using a Gorgon, kind of a devil brown, which I was using before. There, gives wings a little bit more of the red look, which I wanted anyway. He was a little faded. But I think we're good for him for now. And now we have to clean out my cup again. Airbrushing for beginners. I am a beginner, so there is no advanced version of this class. It's more like airbrushing as a beginner. So yeah, there's no not gonna get much out of this lesson other than watching someone else do it and hope for the best. I've seen some people do some pretty amazing stuff though with their airbrushing skills, so that's the advanced stuff. So I usually put a couple of drops of soap in and then kind of fill it up more with water. This way, and then I kick it back a little bit so that they mix, and then I just let the watered down soap run through it. That's just to make the soap go farther, really. There's not a particular rhyme or reason for why I do that, other than, like I say, make the soap go a little farther, last a little longer, run through the brush a little longer. 'Cause you really want it to come out pretty clean. And ideally, it's pretty good if the bubble, see how there's a lot of bubbles still? Water doesn't bubble like that. So you know that it's still got a little soap in there, a little stuff going on, if it's bubbling up a lot. This is what I'm talking about. There's a lot of bubbles there. Normally when you run water through, it won't bubble much if it's pretty clean. There's no soap, no paint, no nothing going back into the bottle. See, that was quite a bit more, and the bubbles went down or broke right away, so they kind of stopped. It's just water again. So that's pretty clean. That's pretty good. All right, so I'm ready for the next step, whatever that's going to be. All right, so here's an example. Okay, so I shouldn't have been using the base yet because you can see it didn't really set. I should have let it sit for a while. But you see it came off, and now you can see there's this nice little base in the middle. So now when I'll put glue on it again. I won't need to really put more there, but this time I'll let it sit. I'll have to let it sit some, or I just don't put it on yet, or don't use the magnet. All of the above is an option, but I do need to stop stressing my my base while I'm waiting for it to dry. But I wanted to use it, man. I wanted to use it. I wanted to paint. All right, where's my... and it's debatable as to what's better. Some people really like the... I like the Gorilla Glue. Some people like regular super glue. I find regular super glue to be, well, I would say less effective, but as you saw, I just put this on and it just came off. So I can't say it's less effective. I think they're both about the same. They just, under the right circumstances, they stick really good. Sometimes they don't stick so good. I don't know any glue that's great. Some people swear by some. I tried different glues. I've had problems with all of them. I've used the Tamiya glue, which is supposed to be good glue. I've used, I don't know. I just don't think any of them are great. And as such, you'll just have to try them yourself, decide what's good. Now remember, these are only sticking to the edge. Now once this dries, it really is pretty good. I've never had the flex iron. I mean, I have quite a few minis on flex iron, and no problems at all from any of them. Every now and then one comes off, but it's probably because I either didn't put enough glue or or it didn't dry right before I started messing with it. Like I started letting it, because really what you should do is you let it sit for a day, right? Super glue, you let it sit for a day. It even says on the bottle, you know, yes, it'll stick. Yes, it's usable, but no, you shouldn't really start messing and testing the strength of the glue in the course of the first minutes of the drying. Even if I let it go for like 5 or 10 minutes, it's going to be a lot better than if I keep fiddling with it right now. And I used it pretty much instantaneously after I put the glue on, which I'm trying to find a place to put this guy. I'm going to let myself get too messy. So we'll leave him alone for a minute. Okay, so let's work on the dog. Again, I'd rather have him be on a base, but I don't know. Can I work with him on the base here? Yeah, I could probably work with him on that base. Let's do it. Let's glue him on. There is. Let's go with on this one. He's pretty small. I'll go ahead and use super glue. The old 4 paws on the ground maneuver. And when you're using the accelerant, you really kind of have to pick your spot quickly and put it down, and because in about 10 seconds he's going to be dry and he will be stuck pretty solidly. Done. Now I can use him. Now he's already got, oh, he doesn't have flex on him. Oh my gosh. He's got a flat base though, so that'll make it easy. Flat base just means you can get a little bit more glue spread, right? Now you can see this doesn't cover the whole base. It doesn't need to. I'm telling you right now, it does not need to cover the whole base. It really only needs to cover most of it, or even, you know, I mean, for these small little halves, this little guy's so light, he's never going to flip over. He may never even come off the base unless you pull him off, or come off the magnet. So he's going to be pretty solid. Assuming I got glue on the whole thing. I didn't get very much. I only got the glue on the back half of this. I could tell because the top bottom's not even touching. There's no glue sticking out or anything. So, kind of bad, but let's see what happens. He should be fine though. It's touching the whole thing, so it should come on. Knowing me, I'll probably get fiddle leave with it later and have to put more glue under there, but whatever. So I got dinner tonight. We're going to go to a place called Dough Zone. I don't know what that is. It's my wife's birthday dinner. So we're gonna meet some family and I don't know if we're gonna meet any friends or not, but we're gonna meet some family. I'm leaning towards a white version of him. So I think I'll put an undercoat of holy white, which by the way is gray. It is not white at all in any shape or form. I'm sure that they've got to have a more white. They just haven't come up with a very good white. I want her to be white, but not like, I don't know. I want him to be gray with white highlights, you know, kind of like show that he's a white-ish dog. I don't know. We'll see. If I don't like it, I'll paint him another color. That's easy to go over, right? It's easy to overshoot white. Takes a minute to shake this bottle up, though. You see there's a lot of the, see how color there's all the whites at the bottom, all the grays at the top. This should all be the same color, top and bottom. So takes a bit, and it's, I'll tell you, it takes a bit even when you're using a shaker. It's coming off a little bit easier. I noticed that if you go a long time without using the paint, it's really hard to get it off the bottom. You can see the grays kind of coming off. It's hard to get all of it. It takes, you can do it if you're willing to shake it long enough, but I'm not. So we're going to call it right there and start putting some paint down. Now, contrast paints, you typically want to be pretty generous with the paint to allow it to try to do its contrastiness. I don't know how good this paint is as far as that goes. It's gray. It will show some highlights. It will show some stuff. I don't know to what extent. I guess we'll see when I'm done. I got quite a bit, but I thought it was a little dog, little paint. But actually, when you slop it on like this, it does seem to really use up a fair amount. Fair amount of paint, looks like. just like that, I'm all out of paint. All out of the paint I threw on the threw on the thing, and I thought I put more than enough for a tiny little dog, but I did not. But he's definitely got more of a, I don't know, more finished look. Anyway, I don't know what other color I'll put on there. I got to do something with him though. Some kind of white, maybe a white. I don't know. Let's put another drop down. Where did I put it? Graveyard gray. Oh, there it is. Trying to make sure I get all the areas that you know, that are dog. Even underneath, because even though I've got my zenithal priming in place, theoretically it'll still be darker there, right? Because this stuff's supposed to be thin enough to allow that through, but we'll see. But looks pretty decent. Definitely gonna need some extra highlights and perks, so I was thinking maybe even bringing in like a brown, and maybe it's like whites, maybe white and brown, I don't know. Just thinking it over in my head. A lot of times that's how it goes, right? You're like, you just have ideas, and then you have to at some point pull the trigger on something. Just go, yeah, it's time to commit to something. So you have it, you mull it over in your head while you're doing the grays and the whites, and you're like, okay, next color, please. So yeah, let's go get some. Let's get some white, some actual white. With white scar. It's a layer paint. That's about what I'm doing, right? Highlight whites. I don't know what's the difference. Oh, I do have a white ink, which is uber thin, which might even be better. Might be light. It'll lighten the gray without totally going white, right? It's like even thinner. Hey, Savinicus, how you doing, man? Oh, which one are you talking about? This Knoll? The one I was just now working on? Or are you talking about the one I finished? You have to look at... Oh, yeah, this one. No, I'm letting the base dry better. I didn't let it dry very well on... I didn't let it dry very well on the base, and so it came off. So this time I'm letting it dry for 5 or 10 minutes while I work on this dog. I also have this dog, my Knoll, the Knoll dog. I don't know what he's called. Knoll Beast, Knoll Pet. I don't know. So in the meantime, I'm giving the Mastiff some paint while I work through the next phase. So this one I'm just gonna, I don't know, probably put on the highlights on the top parts of the dog, so that, or you know, I don't care if it recedes a little bit, but ultimately I just want the top of the dog to have more white. And then I will probably even put some brown in certain areas. I'm thinking I kind of like to have him maybe be spotted. I don't know, something of that nature. But basically I'm just trying to let the light hit the top parts give him maybe not look so gray. No, I use an airbrush. I have an airbrush. Which is just air, pressure tank. The whole pressure tank bit, you know? I do. I have one of those double compression air tanks down here, or double tank compression tanks. It's plugged in underneath my desk. That's how I airbrush. They have handheld ones that supposedly with a battery have their own, like, I don't know how they work. They must suck air in from the outside and then pump it through. Something like that. I don't know. Some people say they work pretty good. The little single, they look like basically little tanks. But I've heard people say they're pretty decent. So yeah, like I say, all I'm doing here is putting some of my lighter color on the top, so it makes him look a little bit closer to the just brighter on top. So he's more white than gray eventually. At least maybe the light will make it look that way. That's my goal. Oh, really? So it must. So it's not. So it's not electric. It uses a pressurized can. You know, just make sure you're using a mask when you use those kind of things, right? I mean, you should use it even with a regular airbrush, but acrylic paint is not non-toxic, but the compressed air can be. So just make sure you use a mask. And even with airbrush, you know, they say you should use a mask, and I try to when I'm going to paint for a while, but I kind of don't, because you don't want to breathe in that crap regardless. But the propellant is not. Oh, and make sure you even with paints that say they're airbrush paints, I would still add water or paint thinner or medium, because depending on your airbrush, it could get to be a pain in the rear. Thin paint, really thin, like people say water, milk thickness at the thickest. Um, you're just better off putting a lot of coats than trying to do it all in one coat, because your your airbrush is going to get to be all plugged up, and that's not going to be fun. So yeah, really thin paints for your airbrush, even if they're airbrush paints. You want to check them, because in time, even paints that are perfect for the airbrush have that nice thin consistency will thicken up just because they dry a little bit. So keep that in mind for your own sanity. If you don't want to be trying to clean your airbrush all the time and having it plug up on you, strongly recommend very thin paints. Lots of coats will look better in the long run anyway. It'll just look it'll be thinner. It'll just make it look smoother. You just got to learn the consistency of air pressure. Now I don't know with what you got. I don't know if they're like one fixed pressure. I don't know how that works. So yeah, no, milk thickness at the most, man. Especially in an airbrush. When you're painting, what you should have it milk thickness when you're painting with a brush, really thin. Because if it's really thick, it'll start when it dries. It'll look goopy, or you'll even get you might lose some detail. You might lose you'll even get brush strokes. You don't want those little lines that come from the brush. So it's got to be pretty thin. See, this is why you keep seeing me go over a lot of these same areas that I've already painted. I'm putting lighter color, slowly lightening it up. But if I don't want there to be brush strokes for my brush, you got to keep it super thin. And colors like white and yellow, and even some of the lighter reds, they take a lot of coats. It's a patience game if you want it to look good. And through an airbrush, it's even more of a thing, because like I said, then you have the problem of your airbrush clogging up, and if it starts drying up while you're using it, that's just no fun. I'm just now learning my own airbrush. I used to have it too thick. I'd go, oh, this is an airbrush paint, I don't need to do anything, and then it would start drying up. What I would recommend is getting some airbrush medium, or even just regular medium. I mean, any medium will work. It slows down the drying of your paints, and use that as a thinner, because a thinner itself will thin the paint, but it doesn't really slow down the drying time. If you want your drying time to be a little slower so that it doesn't dry up in the nozzle of your airbrush, use a medium to do that. Mediums are better for slowing down the drying time. Yeah, trust me, I've been learning all that stuff the hard way. Even after reading online, it's like somebody goes, "Do we get this thick?" And I'm like, "Nah, it's pretty thin. I'm good." And then I wonder why my brush is always getting plugged or drying up. Because you like start off good, the paint's coming out, and all of a sudden you're like, "Why won't it come out anymore? I know there's still paint in the pot. I'm looking at it." And it's like, oh, maybe it's thinner. Maybe I'll just make it thinner, and then thinner, and then thinner. And then you're like, oh, yeah, look at that. Then using a medium just keeps it from drying and just saves you even more pain. What does he need? He's very gray. Maybe he just needs more white. Just, it needs to be whiter yet. I think I need more contrast. Somewhere along the line, I need to give this guy some contrast. I thought about adding some like brown, making them kind of a two-tone, you know, like a dog with two colors. But I don't know. I have to figure out how I would paint that on. It's easy to say you want to add these little spots and stuff, but it's like, can I do that? Do I know how to do that? And the answer is probably not. But hey, if you don't try, you don't ever figure it out, right? Just like my attempt at NMM, which didn't go quite as I had hoped, but yeah, you know, I don't think it was terrible. But, you know, I got a long way to go before an MMM. Some people only do NMM. I'm like, oh, what a pain. So much work. All right, so I have not even painted the guy I'm supposed to be painting. I'm painting a dog. I should call him D&D monster. I won't call him a monster. Let's put him in as pet. D&D pets. Yeah, let's add a new one called pets and familias. Familias? And then we'll add one, call him Mastiff. Mastiff. And we'll click here and we'll hit start. Even though I probably have to add like 15, 20 minutes to that, but that's right, I'll add it later. I add it when I'm done. I wonder what kind of good highlight what I could do here. I could just keep adding white over and over. Eventually it'll look pretty detailed, but I don't know how long I want to do that. So we're going to the dough zone later for my wife's birthday dinner. Well, I mean, we went out Friday, me and her, but I mean, this is with the family and stuff. I've never been there. I don't even know what they serve. I don't even know what the dough zone is. Is it an Asian place? I don't even know. I don't even know what the dough zone is. Just the place my wife said she wanted to go. So I said, all right, going to the dough zone. Your wish is my command, my honey. That's what I said. And not so many words, but you know, basically I just said okay. whatever you want, man. I am good. Good to make you happy with that. It's your birthday. Yeah, dumplings. Okay, that's kind of what I thought. It makes sense. That was my first indication. He's kind of slowly kind of starting to get some detail, but the white, the problem is the white keeps fading to match the gray. Now it's getting lighter and starting to be better, but I have to keep putting on this white until it starts to stick. Get some area of his leg that didn't get any of the base color very well. Put some of the base gray on it. Now I airbrushed his body with the regular gray, but it's hard to get the airbrush in a lot of these areas. So you're constantly like, you still have to go over sometimes with a brush just to hit those areas that manage to dodge the attack of the airbrush. Oh, are you checking out their menu? Beef sandwich. Oh, that always sounds good to me. Beef. Give me some, what is it? Tim the Toolman Taylor grunting going. Meat. That'd be me if I was a zombie. I wouldn't be brains. I'd go meat. Arr. Cow. People sounds gross. I think I'll go with cow. I'd be a picky zombie eater. Well, the other zombies will look at me, dude. We do brains around here, man. We don't do cow. So you do you, man. I'm gonna be a carnivore zombie. Of course, I guess if you're eating brains, you're a carnivore. Is brain considered a meat? I don't know. How does, is that what keeps them alive? Is that why they're able to continue functioning? Is because the brain is absorbed into their brain's minimal functions so that they can continue to move? You know, kind of, since they're probably not producing their own cells, they have to eat other people's cells. I don't understand why zombies care about brains. Huh. Well, then they probably have stuff that I'll eat. If they've got meat, then I'm good to go. We're going at 4:30. What are you guys doing tonight? You and Kat, are you guys just hanging out at home? Missed out on a good night of game night last night. I mean, we only played 2 games. We played Starbase and Queen Domino. That's all we played. It was a pretty light evening. I mean, we started, you know, the usual time, 5, 6, but we quit about, I don't know, 8. I want to say around 8:30. And Space Base or whatever it was took a little while to finish. We had 6 people playing. Jeff actually showed up, which was the first time in a while. That was good to see him again. How did Benji's baseball game go? Did he win? Oh, did his team win? Oh, they're just practicing, just getting themselves ready to play. April, that's coming up though. Are they? Are they going to be a championship contender this year? I should probably work a little bit more on the knoll. I think it's probably dried enough. Giving the dog a little bit of. I give the dog a fair amount of my attention. His base has a bone on it, a skull. So I'm gonna paint the skull. My like I said, my light. Oh, so it might be one of those seasons, huh? A learning opportunity season. Yeah, yeah, that's what it is. What is competitive baseball like? So, you know how they have all these people who. Oh, did you know they have what do they call it? There's this new sexual orientation. I saw it on some girl was talking about it. You know how they got the heteros and the what do they call bisexual, blah 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 blah, all the commons. You know the normals, asexual, whatever. There's one called gosh dang it, I forgot what it's called. It's like aerosexual or omni or something. No, not omni. It's like arrow or something. It basically means uh, none of the above. You are changeable. Every morning you wake up, you can pick. You're flexible. So you don't even have to decide. You just wake up on Monday and Tuesday. One day you could be a guy, you could be a girl, you could be a trans, you could be whatever you want. And this girl, this article I was reading, it, this person said, "Oh, I told my friend about it, and she just kind of rolled her eyes at me. Needless to say, we're not friends anymore." And I'm like, "Oh my gosh." Oh, I tell you, I don't even know what to think. It's just like now you don't even have to decide. That's what all those guys are who are entering female sports. That's what they are. They're the new aerosexual or whatever. They wake up that morning. "Ah, I'll be a woman today for my tournament. I think I'll feel like being a guy again around dinner time." I gotta go whoop. I gotta go. I gotta go whoop on some women as a woman. Of course, I'm gonna be a woman, so I gotta keep it fair. And then I think I'll be a guy tonight when I go out on my date. Oh my gosh, it's just insane. Now you don't even have to be anything. You could just make it a moment's notice. Wake up. I'm feeling kind of feminine today. I think I'll go enter me a women's tennis tournament. Yeah, 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 let's do that. I know I'm ranked top 10 in the world in men's tennis, but I'm a woman today. I gotta go play in women's tennis. Can't can't go against my mind's desire. Oh, I don't know, man. What is it coming to? You can just be what you want. What you want, what you really, really want. Yeah. I don't know. I don't even know how to respond to some of that craziness. So this friend that she's known for years and years and years, because she rolled her eyes at her, she's not friends anymore because she wants to be able to be what she wants when she wants. What it is she probably had a crush on her friend. And when her friend rolled her eyes at her, she says, "Oh, well, you're not for me." It's like, yeah, probably not. I don't know. Just so all of those, I've been applying for jobs because my job sucks, but they always ask are you male, female? I don't want to tell you. I don't want to decide at this moment. Other, I don't know, whatever they don't usually give you all the options. It's like it's male, female, and whatever the other option, whatever some third thing is. And so yeah, I don't know. The world is crazy. Yeah. Oh no. Well, yeah. Well, evolution and God. Okay, I know. I know. Some people don't want to go that way, go there. But hey, it is what it is, man. In my opinion. But hey, we all have our opinions. We all have our views. Some are right, some are wrong. We won't know. You won't know for sure until it's all said and done, right? Unless you might know for sure in your own mind, but until you actually have that confrontation or not, when God walks up to you, or when you find yourself standing in front of Him, and you say, "Oh, you are real." He's like, "Yeah." So, doesn't look good for me then? No, not at all. I don't know. It's crazy. I joke about it, but it's really not because people get really offended by that stuff. They're probably what do you call it? Canceling me now. No, how dare you? You don't believe me. It's like, hey, my thought is do what works for you. Go with your belief. Go with your faith. I don't bother me any. My faith is set. You do what you got to do, and just eventually, everybody will know the truth. Everybody will know exactly it. Well, maybe not. I mean, I guess if the atheists are right, nobody will know. So, because once you die, you're like, okay, well, you're just dead. There's nowhere to go from there. Thing is, I'd rather, if it really came down to it, and my views and understanding of the way things really are, if it came right down to it, I'd rather be wrong as a Christian than wrong as an atheist. Because it's going to be way different. It's way better to be wrong as a Christian than it is to be wrong as an atheist. Of course, in my mind, I'm not wrong, and I'm not worried about it. But everybody's got their point of view, their own beliefs, their own reason for their belief. Yeah, if it doesn't hurt others, but that's the problem. Is like they say, what keeps if you don't have faith in anything beyond what's on earth, then there's nothing keeping you from doing what you feel other than what laws. But it's like eventually, and that's what they're fighting against, right? They're trying to laws that say it's man and woman. So they've been working on canceling that, and now they're working on they'll work on other things. Why do we have to be good? Why do you have to do anything? What is good if nothing's out there to define good? Who defines good? If there is no higher power telling you what good is, the only reason people are good is because somebody somewhere told them and what good is, and others not so much. And then it's like they're both equally right because in their minds that's what was good. It's right for them. So there is no moral right and wrong, right? If there's no faith, there's no higher power. There's nothing telling everybody what the base rule is for morality. Then there is no defining structure. There's nothing to guide people because it all comes down to just what somebody wants to do, what their particular feelings for the day are, what their orientation for the day is. And that's scary. What time is it? 3 o'clock. We gotta leave in about 30 minutes. I'm gonna go ahead and slop down some my favorite brown paint on my brown here. You hope it's as long as you're not hurting others, because right now the only reason it's not hurting, the only thing keeping people from not hurting others, if it isn't faith, it's law. But law gets, who sets the law, right? You hope that somebody had some morals when they set the law, and there are places where it's iffy. Or maybe that's their version of morals, right? Everybody does their own thing. So I added a couple more of my X cases to my paint tower here because I'm growing out of my ones I have. Got too many. I've got way too many paints in front of me here. I'm very slow to put them back in the containers. I put them back in about once every other week. Once it gets to the point where I can't stand how much room I have. And which is pretty quick. Right now I've got like 20 bottles on each side of me. It's like, okay, time for these to go back in their paint containers. And I got to figure out how to sort them because my blues and browns are starting to leak. Outside of their, I mean, they don't all fit in their container anymore. What is hi-fi lo-fi? I don't even know what hi-fi lo-fi is. Is that a place? In the U district? That's like way far away. Huh. Really? That'd be cool to check them out, if nothing else. I don't have enough product, man, to sell through retail anymore. That's the problem. I'm sold out of most. I have very few X cases left, and I have a fair amount of mage cages left, but um, until I get more, I mean a fair amount. When I say a fair amount, I have maybe a couple hundred. It's not a ton. Certainly not enough to promote heavily, but yeah, it's kind of a tricky thing now. I'm trying to figure out how to keep promoting, selling what I have while trying to get ready for the, trying to prep for the Kickstarter and have enough product to get people interested. Yeah, it's a tough balancing act between too much advertising for too little product and getting ready for trying to get it ready for another launch, right? Video games and music. Wow. You guys got quite the variety, huh? Video games and music. It's kind of an interesting combo. I mean, I guess they both come on disc, but beyond that, the thing is when you're doing like belts and stuff on these guys, you have the sides, and it's real easy to forget to do the sides. And somebody looks at it and goes, "How come the side of the belt isn't painted?" And you're like, "Oh, that one side you spotted the one side I missed." Because they have sides, but it's only a little tiny 30-second width piece, you know. All right, let's how much time I got? I got a little time. Kind of low on water. Let's put some water in this thing so I stop trying to do the bottom of this. There we go. There, now I got a real bottle. I had like drops of, that was like a 1/4 inch of water in my bottle here. It's not working very well. Okay, let's go ahead and put some bronze on, huh? Bronze on? Bronze on? We'll just go with classic bronze. Or maybe I can use a, what is this color? Color shifter? Dark green tint. Okay. I need a drink. Game Boy? Game Boy? You have a Game Boy? Oh, dude. Man, my work sucks. Yeah, I don't know if you know what's going on. I mean, I've told you before how much I don't like my job anymore, but get this. Okay. My manager has been doing this spreadsheet, and spreadsheet documenting everything, every little thing I've done wrong over the last 8 months. I mean, nothing egregious, okay, But you know, you're not doing. You didn't finish this. You rolled over that. What was the other thing? Oh, you didn't properly communicate PTO this time or that time. You blah 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 blah. You know, she's calling out all my flaws. Okay. Now, granted, I'll tell you right now, I'm not the only one who does this stuff because I see other people not do it. Like just this last week, we had 2 guys that were off on PTO. We couldn't figure out where they were, what they were doing, what they're. But you know, to me, I don't see the discussion she has with them. So I don't know if she's calling them out too. I don't know. But she calls me out, not necessarily in front of them, but you know, in our meetings. A week ago, last Friday, we had a one-on-one. She showed me her spreadsheet again with all the stuff. She set up another one-on-one the following Wednesday and went over the whole spreadsheet again. So that's like last week, basically 3 business days. Friday, PYR, you know, it's that time of year. Went over it all again. That's literally 2 days later, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. 2 days later, she went over it all again. I kept telling her, you don't need to go over all this stuff. I get it hasn't changed in 2 days. I have another one-on-one with her. She's scheduled next Wednesday. She says, oh, we'll go over, we'll review this stuff on Wednesday. And she says, you know, if you don't improve, she said for the last 3 months or whatever, she says, if you don't improve, you know, we can take additional action with also up to termination. And I was telling Ann, I was like, I just wish they would terminate me. Just do it. Get it over with. I mean, I'm trying to get this work done, but it's like every time it's something new. And it's like, take, for example, this task I had to do. I had to create a proxy service against another service on a different server. I had never done a web proxy service. So, but I had one there was one there that I could copy, kind of. I mean, it was just one that did the same thing. So I created the code, and that's what I'm working on now. But she says, oh yeah, creating a proxy service takes 2 days tops, max. You should get this done in 2 days. I'm going, like I said, I've never done this before. I don't even know what a web proxy service, how it functions. She says, yeah, but it'll only take 2 days. So of course, you don't get it done in 2 days, which would have been my getting it done Friday. Guess what she's going to bring up at our next meeting? You've still been working on this for 2 more days. It's like, what am I going to tell on the overhead? I'm going to go to... Wait a minute, there was a shaker... Did my shaker ball dissolve? What the heck? I thought the lid came off. It stopped making noise. There it goes. It must have found a lava goo or something. It got stuck. What am I going to say to her? I mean, I don't know. I just don't know how do you, I don't know who her boss is. I could find out if I want to. But I mean, what am I complaining about? I mean, it's like, I'm not going to say, I mean, she's not wrong. I mean, I have taken long on some things. I have been behind on some things because I'm still learning all this stuff. And every time we get a new task, I said, can I work on this for a couple of weeks? Give me 3 sprints working on this code and I'll be a lot better at it. You know, just let me get in there. Oh no, we got to do this other thing. So you work on this one thing and then they put you on another thing and then they put you on a different thing. And like I said, we've got like 5 websites and like 15 web services, which are just like, you know, small website pieces, right? Some of them are written in Angular. Some of them are written in C#. Some of them are just proxies that go to other documents. And then some of them are in the cloud. Some of them are local. Some of them, and then we have things like, you know, other maintenance, OS upgrades, server upgrades, SQL upgrades. We've got, and these are all things that have just been going on over the course of this year alone. Well, this last 1 year. And it's like, I've never seen any of your code. I don't even know what, I've never been, when she hired me, she knew I didn't know Angular. I told her, I said, I don't know Angular. I don't know any of this web stuff. I've never worked on it before, but given the opportunity, I can learn it. And so she hired me based on the assumption, I guess. She thought, oh, you'll have all this stuff memorized and figured out in 3 months. And I thought, well, I could probably come up to speed in 3 months if they did 1 or 2 websites or 1 or 2 things, or they did all the same code and the same stuff, and I could learn how that code works and functions. But that's not what they do. I mean, we spent so much time just doing certificate upgrades and password upgrades, have nothing to do with it. So I'm just banging it off. I'm just throwing it at you. My wife's already been hearing me complain. I mean, she's been good about it, though. I mean, she hasn't, she doesn't roll her eyes at me. She knows what's going on. But still, it's frustrating as heck, And then so I've been applying for jobs and all this other stuff at other places. Preferably something I already know so that I can get into a place and, be productive and not be stressed out about what I don't know anymore. But so I've applied for, 25 different jobs out in the world. I don't know, I'm more than that probably. But gotta say, it's hard to get work these days because now, they're all remote jobs. Well, mostly. And that means you're competing against the entire country of people looking for work. And so many jobs nowadays require things I don't have. I mean, I just don't have React or a good base of Angular because they want like 5 years of Angular programming or significant years. I've done maybe a month, 3 weeks of Angular programming. So I can't say I'm an Angular programmer. I barely even starting to get familiar with how it's laid out. I even started taking a class, but that was a different problem altogether. Yeah, I thought about contacting HR. I really did. But I don't know what. I don't know, but I mean, it's like, am I not? If she was lying, if she was making stuff up, I feel like I'd have a base. Okay, she's harassing, she's bugging me, she's trying to, get me to quit or whatever her problem is, and then I could see going to HR and going, this is, she's just on my case all the time, and she's making stuff up. But she's not making stuff up. I mean, yeah, it's probably pretty accurate that I'm behind and I haven't learned everything if she expected me to. I could take her spreadsheet and show it to HR, I guess. But I don't know. Maybe HR told her to do that so she could document all her reasonings. So everything's in documentation when she decides to fire me. But, and if that's the case, it's already documented. It's like she's documenting in advance. But I don't know. I don't know. What is it I want? Then I have to ask myself, what is it I actually want? Do I want? I mean, they're not going to fire her. They might tell her to back off a little. Maybe. If they do anything at all, that's about the most I can hope for, right? That they ask her to back off. But fact is, I don't know. I think both of us made a mistake in hiring, in this job. Me for taking the job. I shouldn't have tried. I shouldn't have taken it. I should have understood that. But the thing is, I didn't know. I mean, I feel like she missold the job to me, what it was, and I missold myself to her. Well, I didn't lie, but I just told her that I could do this based on what I knew. I think she missold the job to me, and I overestimated myself. But that was only because I thought I knew what I was getting into, and I didn't, because she told me, I thought we were just gonna, she said that we're gonna be working on some new websites, we're gonna be doing some new stuff, and I'm like, this is cool. I'll do some of this new stuff, and I'll get to learn it, and I'll get a focus on it, and do this. And that just never happened. In the time we've been there, I've been there a year. And all these new websites and new things that she was talking about doing, all these conversions, none of it's happened. Not one little tiny bit of it. A lot of planning still. They're still like, oh yeah, you got to do this. What's it going to take to do that? But nothing out of that. So there's been no coding, no real coding. Mostly like little fixes here and there. But yeah, it's a mess. She shouldn't have hired me, and I shouldn't have taken the job, knowing if I knew what I knew now, what this job was, even in my state of high confidence that I was then, if I'd have known what this job was when I applied, I'd have said, no, thank you, sir. You cannot ask me to remember, know all this stuff. I don't think you can ask anybody with zero knowledge. Okay, I came in. She knew I was zero. I told her I'd never done this stuff before. I'd like to learn. I think I can learn. You know, and she said, all right. She gave me a chance. And then I found out that she was being full of hooey about what the job was and how often I'd actually get to do that stuff. And then she complained the whole entire time about how I wasn't measuring up. And I could probably spend a few hours. Yeah, I mean, exactly. If I wasn't doing all the other crap, and I have learned, I am getting better at learning this stuff, but I'm just not at the point of, being able to call myself an expert by any means. And so it's not like I'm not picking it up. And in time, I probably, maybe another year, I'd probably be much better at a lot of this stuff. I would be much better at most of everything that we do in a year. But I don't think I have a year. She's been threatening to fire me for the last 6 months. So, and the thing is, I'm not going to quit. Okay, because we all know that, and if I quit, I don't get unemployment, and I need to have unemployment while I'm looking for work. So it's tough it out until she pulls the plug. I just wish she'd pull the plug because I am sick of her nonsense, and I'm just going to keep working, trying to learn as much as I can, get as good at it as I can in the time, and hopefully by the time she pulls the plug, I'll have something I can take with me to the next job. But yeah, this sucks. It sucks lots. And like I said, so many jobs out there want want skills that they're just not there yet. They ask you, they say, they want people who have this skill and that skill, and I can go, well, I've seen that code, but I haven't had a chance to actually work on it, so I can't say I'm an expert. It's like management. Okay, so at one point, my manager, this is a long time ago, different manager, different part of the company, asked me, he says, so are you interested in management positions? He didn't offer me a job, just whether or not I might be open to it. And I go, yeah, no thanks. This was, like I said, probably 7, 8 years ago. And I go, yeah, I just rather be coding, doing what I'm doing. 'Cause I like what I'm doing, and it's interesting, and I just wasn't ready to be a manager. I don't want to be in charge of people. It's too much crap. And then, and now it's like I'm old enough, and I'm like thinking, management. I could do management now. I could do that. But now, when I'm looking for jobs for managers, in programming or whatever, they're, they always, oh, with at least 5 years of management. It's like, okay, well, where's the entry level manager positions? There is none. There's no such thing as an entry level manager position. They all want experienced managers. And I'm like, well, how do you get to be an experienced manager if you've never been a manager? I don't know. I don't know how that works. But such is the way, I guess. Yeah, maybe. I mean, yeah. I don't know what a fair. See, my mind, I keep balancing it out in my head. I keep looking at it as a devil's advocate from her point of view, which is probably the wrong way to look at it. I just, she is being that kind of person. But I keep thinking, well, it's kind of, she's not wrong, and and I don't know what a fair amount of time for expectation of meetup. I mean, you're right. I think the harassment part, the every 3 days crap is. I think ultimately she wants me to quit because I think it's probably a big headache for her to lay me off.